Let's talk about some cooking, maybe something you can do for Christmas, you know, with the family gathering around, maybe some friends. And of course, always good to have some kind of dips, right? Just grab a chip, dip, and go. Very easy to do. And today I want to talk about a caramelized onion dip. This one takes a little bit of time, and I've already done most of the heavy work already, which is inside my pan as we speak. I caramelized some onions. Now, when you see what's inside my pan here in just a second, you might get a little blown away by what I'm about to tell you here. This is 2 large onions, and I mean large. They were pretty big, so that's what I'm going to call for on this one, 2 large onions. If not, if you don't have large ones, the medium size one usually get kind of there in the 3 or 4 or 5 pound bag, whatever. I'd go with 3 of those because really, caramelized onions really do reduce down to much of nothing, but it's got a lot of good flavor to it. And I'll tell you how I kind of did that here in a second. But otherwise, I'm going to use a little bit of cooking sherry here, some salt and some pepper. I've got some Greek yogurt here, as well as some sour cream. I went with the full fat sour cream there. Didn't get that light stuff. Nope, not doing that. Now, you can use this right here. That is mayonnaise. But don't worry, Ron Rhodes. It's not going to go in there. So we're not doing mayonnaise today. But nonetheless, you could use that. And I already have in here at room temperature now 4 ounces of cream cheese. So what we're going to do here to begin working with this is I'm going to get my onions warmed back up once again and kind of get them simmering, which they're beginning to do right now. What I did here to caramelize the onions, I have a Dutch oven, cast steel Dutch oven, and I put 3 tablespoons of butter in there with the 2 large onions that were finely sliced up. I used my mandolin to slice the onion very thin. Put the lid on, put it on a medium heat for 5 minutes to let it begin to melt the butter, but also steam the onions. After that, took the lid off, gave it another stir, and every 5 minutes kept stirring it until the onions became caramelized, which is what we see here. That process can take a while. It took me about 30 minutes yesterday to get that done. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer than that. Now, when you're done with that pot, by the way, I'll recommend doing all of this inside that pot because that's where that flavor is. But if you don't, or you don't want to, or you can't, for reasons like what I'm doing here, I took a scraper. I took my my metal spatula and scraped off some of those brown chunks off the bottom because that, friends, is flavor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in about, I'd say, 1/4 of a cup here of the Greek yogurt. Mayonnaise in its place, by the way, if you want to go that route. And then a little bit here of the sour cream, which will add just a little bit more here in just a second. But now what we're going to do is I want to go ahead and add in the garlic to this. You can actually use, if you'd like, some garlic cloves, kind of mince them up really fast, but if you don't have it, the garlic powder works just fine. I've also got parsley for this, but we're going to use that parsley just as a garnish for it at the very end. So now, what you would do here in this process is if you are using the garlic cloves, it would probably take a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes here, to really let them simmer, let the butter that's still in here pull out the flavor there of the garlic. But since we're just doing a powder to make it a little bit quicker, all you got to do is just kind of really mix it up evenly and let that be it. Once that's it, once that's all cooked and a done deal, that's when you begin to add your other ingredients over here. So I'm going to put the rest of the sour cream into the cream cheese mix here, a little bit of pepper, and I tell you what we're going to do too to add some more flavor to this, as I mentioned earlier, is put a little bit of a cooking sherry in here. Not a lot. I would say maybe a dry wine, by the way. I would go maybe about 2 tablespoonfuls, and what you're going to do with that is let that kind of burn off a little bit, evaporate, but you're going to keep the flavor in there from the sherry. You're just going to be evaporating the water and stuff that was that's in there, kind of mixed in with it. It doesn't take very long to do since you're really not using a whole lot. You can see already starting to evaporate fairly quickly. So once that's a done deal, your room temperature cream cheese, you'll take your onions and mix those into it as well. And now all you're going to start doing is really just start mixing everything up. The cream cheese, if you do it, you don't get it out quickly enough to begin to make this, you can actually take the cream cheese, put it in the microwave for roughly about 10-second burst, total of 30 seconds, get a couple of 10-second bursts, and that will be it. If your cream cheese gets a little bit of lumpy, all you'd have to do is just throw it in the microwave just for a couple of seconds again to get that lumpiness out of there. Otherwise, just kind of continue to take your spatula and push down those bits of that cream cheese so it all gets mixed in nice and easy. It's a little bit on the runny side. That's okay, not a big deal. You've got a nice wavy chip or a cracker that you're going to put this on, and once it's all done, you just put it inside a very nice serving tray like so. We'll do that just for the time being, and then the parsley can be in there for flavor, but why not just put a little parsley there on top just for a little bit there of presentation. There you go, caramelized onion dip. This whole process will probably take you about 40 to 45 minutes, but the long process, again, is just getting those onions caramelized. We'll take the bowl over to the weather pod and have Ron give her a sample coming up next.